Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Everybody.
Don't talk to me right now. We're going in.
On the Daily Pod, episode 2. I'm here with
Tessie.
I'm here
That's
with
a hell of a producer, man. Shout out Tessie. My name's Pro.
My name's Alex,
Alex.
also known as Flacco.
our guest, Alex. I'm Jonathan. And yeah,
Hey, Flacco.
So my first time sound engineering, by the way, too.
what do you mean?
I have no experience in sound engineering or.
Oh, you mean like first time
Overall,
doing it
yeah.
overall? Because
Yeah.
I'm like, this is like the third time.
You're killing it.
Add
You
it to the
you got
resume.
3 hours of experience last time, so good shit.
Shout out Krieger.
Shout out Krogs. All right,
First
episode
guest.
2. Second guest, Alex. You want
Yeah. What's poppin'?
full name? Where you from?
Name's Alexander Perez. A lot of my friends call me Papo or Flacco if you come to the store a lot. Born and raised here in Miami, specifically Kendall.
Ugh.
Best part of Miami. Come on.
No
You already know.
disrespect, but
Kendall's it. Kendall's it.
Kendall is Kendall.
From Cuban descent. Technically a gringo, so I was born here, but my parents are Cuban. But yeah, man, living in Kendall's pretty cool. Way better than Broward. and
no
all these other
shot. No
parts
shot.
where you
Better than
gotta
Broward? No shot.
I never lived in Kendall, so
No, tell
I
him.
can't say.
No shot, Flacco.
No
I
shot.
have
Broward,
lived in
you from
Broward,
Broward?
though. They got a
Kelvin?
Don Pepe's out there.
Tammy. Okay.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Broward is also home to the Hard Rock Guitar
The
Hotel
guitar.
in the city of
Antonio Brown.
and
Oh, you talking about the
else?
Dolphins? Miami Dolphins,
Hollywood,
not the
Florida.
Broward
Yeah, Hollywood,
Dolphins?
Florida.
he said Antonio Brown.
Yeah, he's from Hollywood.
Well, he's from
Miami.
here. But
Yeah.
he moved to Hollywood.
Oh, well, whatever.
I think he grew up.
Shout
down
out
the
AB.
street.
Shout out
Shout out
AB.
AB.
Miami. Better than Broward, still.
How was it growing up in Kendall though? Like, did you have a rough childhood?
If I'd be lying if I'd say no.
So like middle class.
Or, I mean, I'm
like,
saying yes. If
yeah.
I'd be lying if I say yes. Middle class. Like I grew up in a townhouse, so it wasn't a mansion, but it was
You were
nice.
chilling, you were
Yeah.
chilling.
Cul-de-sac.
No.
Okay.
Technically
You can leave your bike-
a
you can
gated
leave your
community
bike outside.
townhouse.
Yeah.
Right
Could you leave
off
your
of-
bike outside?
That's a yes.
No.
If it's not an instant.
My bike has gotten stolen
Okay.
before outside of my house.
It was a rough
Okay.
neighborhood.
Rough. I mean,
There are
Kendall,
some-
Kendall
there are
could be.
some-
Yeah.
It's not rough. It's a bunch of middle class.
There's some cook motherfuckers over in Kendall.
Like what was it like? Dave Chappelle says it the best. Like he wasn't poor, but he wasn't rich. But then when he would hang out with his friends, he'd be pissed because all his friends were richer than him. So it's like one of those that weird dynamic where it's
So you're like
eh,
Dave Chappelle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Makes
right.
sense. Yeah.
Shout out Kendall Supply, by the way.
Yeah.
See,
Kareem from Kendall.
Yes,
Or
sir.
they
Yeah.
with him.
We'll have him on eventually. Right, Tessie?
That's a legend.
Possibly.
We got to see. Got a lot of episodes lined up.
A lot of
He'll be
guests
on eventually.
on the top.
We'll see.
We'll get him, man.
So yeah, grew up in Kendall. What do you remember your first introduction to sneakers? What was it?
So believe it or not, technically Jordans didn't even get me into sneakers. From a young age, I've always been into like styling myself in a sense, or like dressing myself. Even when I would go shopping, and my mom would take me shopping, and she would buy me clothes. But
This
I
started
would
what,
pick
like a
up-
middle school-ish,
Dude,
high school?
early. I remember picking up my outfits or color coordinating my outfits in uniform in elementary school with my shoes. I remember specifically having like Reebok Classics, the one with the straps in the middle. Fat Farms with the fat tongue. I remember I thought I was the coolest kid. First day of school wearing
I had
those.
Fat Farms. The Fat Farms are the shit.
Fat Farms.
The
And
mids.
I definitely had a mid top and high top Air Forces. My skinny ass wearing like high top Air Forces. Probably wearing shorts too, which is bizarre.
Fire.
I never
That's
had the
fire.
Fat Farms, but had a bunch of forces.
Do you remember people wearing those Fat
Yeah,
Farms?
and I wanted them, but
Yo, Kids
They
Foot
were
Locker.
hot,
If
bro.
you guys
Every-
remember, Kids Foot Locker
everybody
used to
had
have
those
the
shits.
Reebok Classics
I had
for
the clothes.
Two for
84,
84,
84.99 or
I remember
85 or
used to be
something like
some
that.
shit
I hated that because
Here's
then
a
my
bum.
mom didn't want to get me the forces for 90.
Yeah,
Like I could
yeah.
get you 2 of these. It's like it doesn't hit the same.
But then transitioning from like dressing myself in elementary school, I say I really wouldn't got into like. I feel like when you really get into sneakers is like the moment where when you wear a sneaker, you immediately clean it the same day, or you're like making sure
Yeah,
the
you get like
condition is
fascinated
good.
by
Yeah,
it. You're like,
I didn't get really fascinated until probably late middle school, early high school, and the pair that did it for me.
which what for everyone? What like time frame? What year?
I'm class of 11. I'm 29.
Okay.
So I'm 2011 freshman year. That's probably 2007. Is my freshman year of high school. So let's just say freshman year. It's a pair of high top dunks, the composition notebooks.
Oof, I remember those.
That was the shoe.
Oh, I remember
couldn't
those.
believe
That
I
was the
ended up
shoe
wearing for
that
money.
did it for me. And then as far as like wearing them and keeping them clean and like walking all like duck footed, like wobbling till I'd increase them, or like stuffing them with like.
To make sure they didn't get fucked up.
I used to instead of like not the cushiony force fields, but like the plastic inserts that would destroy your toes. I did not care.
Ugh.
I was not going for comfort.
I used to do the
understood
same
how
thing.
people use those.
That shit would hurt.
It
The
would
soft
hurt.
ones?
It was a sacrifice.
The soft one's cool, but I
the
used to wear
plastic
those
ones.
purposely.
Those shits would hurt.
And then, believe it or not, still haven't owned my first pair of Jordans. Well, technically in middle school I did. I had those. Was it T3s or team edition ones?
The
The all white ones. Yeah.
The Team Elites.
The ones
Is
that
it Team
everybody
Elite?
had
The
with
ones
like
with the
little
line, the lines?
Yes,
Yeah,
line in the middle.
everybody
Yeah. Technically I had those, but I didn't have an actual retro or Jordan model until high school, late in high school. But
So 07 composition notebook, that was the one that was like,
And
I
then-
fucking love shoes.
my first Nike SB ever. So I got strictly into collecting SBs in high school. My first Nike SB ever was the C&Ks, the green, black, white
The
ones.
earthquake looking ones.
In the back on the heel panel.
And I never got those because the icy bottom.
I think I've owned 90% of all SBs ever. I've never owned that.
That
shoe.
was my first
I've never owned that shoe.
SB ever. And then from there on out, just
I've told Mark. Mark is a friend of our mutual friend. That shoe specifically reminds me of him for some reason. I just always remember that fucking shoe. Shout out Underground Tokyo, new store in South Beach.
Mark is Mark. I would say Mark is definitely helped facilitate that era for me in my life of shoes.
We'll get to Mark because I got him in here, but we'll talk about.
But yeah, that was one of my best friends. Still one of my best friends.
You remember when those shits came out? The 07 composition.
Yeah. They
What
did
else?
like
It was
did
a-
It was the
Elmer's
Elmer's
Blues,
Blues,
the
the Elmer's Blues
90s.
90s.
I bought
I
those
didn't
at
get
I
any
bought
of
those
them.
at Huff, San Francisco. I was there for the summer, and for some reason I was like, oh shit, I knew.
And then it had the Crayola Vandals.
Yes.
I don't know if I think it was GS or men's size. I don't know.
I remember those.
I
Yeah.
had other Vandals, but I never got like the gimmicky ones.
I remember that pack came out, and then they dropped the Santana Dunks, which are the VM favorite.
Yeah.
Santana Dunks, and then the Croc Stars. I don't know if you guys remember
The
those.
Untiffany's.
No, it was like a purple and black high top with like these stars that like I don't know. They were called the Croc Stars. Mike has those too. He always wears them.
Yeah,
I would have to
it's
see
not
a
a pretty
picture.
shoe.
I would have to see a picture. Of
I detested that shoe, but
but yeah, man, SBs going on nsb.org. Like I started on nsb.org before I started on Nike Talk and ISS, and then I transitioned to the
I remember.
forums.
Yeah, people.
But
were
I was
hardcore
more
on
on
NSB.
nsb.org.
I would
As a
only
little
go
high
on
schooler,
there.
like trying to show off fits and like what would you wear?
The only time I ever went on
Forms.
NSB was to do legit checks. Because
They had a
when
great
I would
legit
always
check.
buy SBs.
Yeah.
there you go. That's the Croc Star.
Yeah.
By the way, we are all Croc Stars. If you know, you know.
Yes, we are Croc Stars. Some less than others, but yeah.
Awful.
Croc Top.
I'm invested.
Jesus Christ. All right, so introduction to sneakers. From then, do you remember like knowing that shoes went for money? Like, at what point did you find that out? Because 07, I got into shoes like heavy around that time with
EMP
SBs and
pad.
stuff. I didn't know shoes really flipped like that until like way later. So
Yeah,
how
that's
long
when I
was it
first
before
started
you-
going. I'd be lying to you if I tell you the first year I went to my first dunk exchange, but it was definitely high school era.
Some people don't even know what dunk exchange is, so can you explain it? Like what it is?
I would say now it's a lot different, but
It's the original.
sneaker convention, the original sneaker con. In my opinion, before StockX, before all that stuff, it was the best place for you to go, hang out,
Get rid of
buy,
shit.
sell, trade, you name it. It was dope back in the day. It was dope. I would look forward to it. Whatever shoes I would have, whatever money I had saved up, is literally just going strictly to that, and always trying to have the fire fits.
And it was easy for us to get in the club, even though we're all underage.
Yeah.
We actually.
I
got
mean,
into
even though
clubs at that
I
time.
don't remember them selling alcohol, but
No, for sure. It was just it's like knowing that it was at a
Yeah,
club.
at
We're
a
like,
club.
oh,
It
yeah,
was
we're
pretty
at a
cool.
club
It was
right
pretty
now.
cool.
We're
Always in
fucking buying
downtown
shoes and
somewhere.
shit.
Mecca or
Yeah.
90 degrees, which is where like Spaces and 11 now.
And anytime I pass by there, I always remember. Yep, Dunk Exchange right there, always.
Good ass times. I would question for you guys. What would be the biggest steal you guys ever had in that era of dunk exchange? Because I remember mine.
I know mine too. Yeah.
Easy for me. Some kid fell in a pool with Blink Yeezys, and I bought them for like $350.
Oh yeah, you beat me already. Then that's crazy.
I bought Skunks for $200, worn once at a coin slot. That was the best.
Off of CoinSlot?
No, off of DJ Kaz,
Oh, okay.
the homie,
coin
at
slot
a coin slot event.
Fire.
He was just selling shoes. Like,
The
yeah,
funny
whatever.
thing about the Blinks, right? The dude originally tells me 300. There's a kid next to me. I'll give you 320. I'm like, I don't even look at him. I'm like, yo, 350. Then I look over. It's fucking Ruben.
Oh my god.
Did you know him at the time?
Yeah. Shout out Ruben YB. But yeah, I'm like, yo, what are you doing, man? I want these. And he's like, yeah, I want them too. I'm like, And then he's like, yo, the kid that owned that shoe, he fell in the pool with them. And then
Were they fucked up though?
They were like, the suede was like faded.
Whatever you
It
drive
was
them
like
bitches,
light gray
that's fine.
suede, but the shoe's neoprene, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
So the shoe's dry, and I go, hey, you fell in the pool with these? He's like, damn, yeah, who told you? I'm like, well, that kid knew. Because Ruben, I guess, went to the party or whatever.
Oh man.
And I ended up leaving with that shoe that day, $350. Sold them way later. Like, at this point, I'm living in the Moore's apartment.
Oh, you still
And
still.
then
have
I
those.
sold them for like $900. And that was probably part of the money that I had when we...
I think I helped you sell those.
Yeah, like I
yeah.
posted them like on forums even back
I think I
then,
put
and-
them on eBay for you because I don't think your eBay was.
You're still around that era, like that 2008, 2009 probably.
No,
era?
this was like
Nah, it
Or
was
after.
early 2010s.
Because I then bought the Yeezy 2s.
Okay.
So like the Yeezy 2s were out.
I remember for me, it was a pair of purple pigeons. I got them before the event. So it was weird. Going back to the dunk exchange topic, the time to be at a dunk exchange or the time to buy and do all your transactions was either before the event started,
Right
if
at
you
the
had a
end.
table, right?
Right
Before
at
the
the end.
event, that's where people are not sure where their price is, or you could snag deals and people. There's no StockX in this era, so people don't really know. And then
It's people
sometimes-
knew what they paid for the shoe, what
Correct.
they've seen other people sell it for, or like try to sell it for, and then what.
So
they
if you
maybe wanted.
knew and if you really wanted it, that's the best time for you to get for you to get something and jump on a deal right away without other people saying like, oh my god, or like people bumping. And if not, during the event, did not care to buy anything. You do your rounds, you would pick out what you like, and wait until the end of the event where people will be like, all right, I need to sell this shit. I don't want to take this back home.
Deal.
So either or. But yeah, for me it was purple pigeons. I think I paid under $100. It was either $60 to $80, and they were clean.
That's the thing
Oh,
about that
man.
shoe. Buying it used, the suede is always messed
Always
up.
fucked
The only and funny, it's a love or hate thing depending on who you are, but it had the fake little purple pigeon patch. Like
No,
if
I
it
always
was like
fucked- I
the,
always
you know what I'm
fucked
talking
with
about?
I
The
did.
You did not like that?
Some
I
people
would
it's-
avoid
some people
pairs
liked
that
it, some
had-
people
Really?
didn't.
They
No,
were
I
either
fucked
the suede was fucked up or it had that shit. And I'm like, come on, man.
The fake little
This is-
pigeon
Nah,
patch in the
I
back
liked
heel.
it. I always liked it.
Yeah, I like that. I wore
As
I
long as
wore
it was
like
put
that.
on clean, because some people just the glue. You see the glue stains and all that stupid shit, but if it was on there clean, I'd fuck with it.
But yeah, and
But
then
at that time, when you were going to dunk exchanges, were you flipping shoes, or were you just like
Yeah.
trying to buy shoes for yourself?
yeah, I wasn't doing it to, or what your average 16, 17-year-old with barely any job or minimum wage job, because at that time I believe I started working at Foot Locker. So I started working at Foot Locker at the age of like 16, 17. Mark got me the job, and he was working at Foot Locker.
Fucking
Shout
And
out
he's the
Mark
one that
everywhere.
referred me. And I remember I was under 18 and I couldn't even work over 20 hours because of labor laws or whatever, but I would still get my discount and stuff. And then I think thanks to Foot Locker is when I started getting more into Jordans and started
Yeah, because this was
buying.
like around the time where the packs were dropping, which had the streets on fucking fire.
Talking about packs, I could talk about steals when I was working at
I know,
Foot
I
Locker.
remember you telling me about that.
People just hiding shoes in the back, forgetting about them. 6 months, a year later, I guess Foot Locker just wants to liquefy whatever old stock it is, and shit would scan for pennies of the dollar.
Yeah, and like you didn't have to update it. It was just
Nah, it would
the
do it by
system.
itself. The
Yeah.
system would do
The
it.
system would do it.
But yeah, another shoe that holds dear to my heart, that I hold dear to my heart, is Huffquake Air Max 90s. That was probably one of my favorite shoes in high school as well.
You don't see those around. a
Never,
lot.
never see them.
They're not
Wait, the
wearable.
90s, the white,
White
and blue
with the
one,
royal,
right?
royal. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Air Max 1 you see a
Yeah,
lot,
I've seen
but not the
black
not the
and
90s.
green.
I loved that shoe, bro. I think I still have them somewhere
And those
broken
had
in my
like
house.
crumbling and
Mhm.
You gotta
mineral issues.
bring him to that guy right there.
Take him to
Cool
that
beans.
guy back there.
Shout out Cool Beans.
He'll fix him. So transitioning into that, you were going to events, you were buying shoes, you were just flipping shit. At some point, you just got into like actually reselling. Did you?
Yeah. Like I said, whatever money I had and whatever shoes, it was weird because that era was just like I would wear a shoe a few times and then sell it. And then whatever shoe I'd buy, it's just like a constant rotation. Since I didn't have a lot of money to keep the shoes, but I always wanted to just, I don't know, switch up the styles. It was more about like in and out, shoes coming in and out. Whether I was making money, sometimes I was, or breaking even. For me, it was just, that chase of a new shoe and experiencing a new shoe and just wearing it. But definitely there was some business moves being made in terms of buying shoes purposely to make money so I could then use that money that profit to buy a shoe that I really wanted.
So at that time, the main motivation for doing it
wasn't
to
even
sneakers.
to get money in my pocket. It was just to get more
to
sneakers
get
or to get sneakers that I really wanted that were more expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
Priorities at that age is different.
That's
I'm
way
not thinking of it.
You either want a car, or you want to spend money on a girl, or you want to buy shoes. That's it.
Yeah.
Literally the only three things. At that time, you met Mark. You said, right? You want to explain who Mark is?
In high school,
because Mark kind of plays a part in all of us to an extent. So
meeting
in high school, I would say, other than there's a few people that were like into shoes or sneakerheads back in high school, but not to toot our own horn, for sure the people that had the craziest rotations for our age group and were really, really into shoes was Mark, who has a store now, Underground Tokyo.
South Beach.
South Beach,
7th and Collins, or
between
7th and 8th and Collins.
Tony Lee.
Shout
I
out
don't know
Tony
if
Lee.
you guys ever met Tony Lee.
I met Tony. I did a lot of transactions with Tony. He's a good guy.
He does nails, and his family owns a bunch of nail shops. He's Vietnamese.
You know the name of the place?
I do not know.
No, but look it up. You'll find it.
He's another degenerate gambler. My guy.
Oh, good.
And rest in peace, Eddie Fro. If you remember Eddie.
Definitely remember Eddie. Yeah, he played a big part in the beginning of dating.
Yeah. So all of those guys, funny enough, Mark, Tony, and Eddie were a grade above me. They were class of 10, and I was class of 11, but I connected with all of them because of shoes. And that was pretty much like the more core group of shoes people within in the school. And then there's a few other people here and there. And then even now, 10 plus years later, we all still have a connection with Mark, which is pretty wild.
I think I met Mark before I met you, for sure.
For sure. I met you because of Mark. And we could get into that. I know probably that's another question down the line, but
that falls in line with what we're talking about now.
So well, then transitioning from like, the flipping aspect. At this point, I don't even think I was flipping clothes really. I feel like clothes wasn't really a big thing back in the day. It was just strictly shoes.
It wasn't. It was just like an extra thing.
Everyone wore freaking white tees, black tees, and 501 Levi 501s.
If you went to Dunk Exchange, nobody was selling clothes. If they were selling the matching shirts for whatever Jordans came out the week before.
What was the name of those? Like the matching tee, the brand. I know it was like two in the shirt, like two, like there's that brand Tits or whatever, and then
I remember Rocksmith.
Yes.
Rogue Status.
Yes.
And people would sell like
those brands are the only ones that were selling clothes.
Oh, Karma Loop. This is the Karma Loop era. So
yeah, all that gimmicky shit. No one really sold that, but when the LRG Dead Serious hoodie came out,
that's one of them too.
People started having that.
Pickyourshoes.com era. I don't even know if that's still a website.
I don't think so, but yeah.
And even back then, like when Nike SB did like the cement print windbreakers and shit, people would have those just because they're Nike SB.
Yeah.
Things like that, but not really. You wouldn't go to an event and see people.
So yeah, I would. If anything, what escalated me flipping shoes is working at Foot Locker. Obviously, I was quick to realize that like minimum wage ain't shit. I was making more money off my discount. Whether it be selling, regular stuff.
Did you ever get in trouble using the discount?
Once.
Like, how bad did you abuse it?
Okay.
How bad?
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
Fucking 10 packs.
So not even like that, because they didn't care how much you spent when you. So our regular discount was 30%. That really didn't have any limit. However, Foot Locker back in the day would do 4 times a year. they'll have like an employee appreciation month where it's 50%, right? But with that 50%, you had $1,000 limit. Since you're saving 50%, you could you're essentially you have a spending of $1,000 in merchandise.
And you guys know when that 50% off is gonna come, or they just
you do like a week ahead.
You're preparing.
Yeah, you do. You week ahead, and then now they have associate cards. I think I still have my associate cards, but back then it was with a pay stub, a little barcode. You would have to have that barcode, so you could go to any Foot Locker. And I think the one time I like really fucked up was House of Hoops just opened up in Dadeland.
I remember.
I don't even know what year this is. This is when when the South Beaches first came out.
This had to be like 2010 or 11.
When LeBron just came to the Heat.
This was when I've stayed in Broward almost all my life. When people would say Dadeland Mall, it was like you were telling me you were going to Orlando. To me, in my head, it was so far away.
That's how I felt about the House of Hoops in with Pembroke. No, there was the House of Hoops in Pembroke, right?
It was
around the same time.
Anyways, compared to the
one, dude, back then it was crazy. They would actually
drop foams there. They dropped Galaxy foams there, didn't
they
they?
did, but they didn't because no one that camped out got.
I remember that.
And
that's a whole nother story.
That's
a whole nother story. Galaxy foams. I drove all the way to Orlando for those, just for that release to get canceled. But
this is around the same time.
I'll do it after the Foot Locker thing. So there was no really way to track in terms of how much you spent, but we just knew that it was $1,000. And I do not know how, but I ended up spending about $3,000 instead of $1,000, which was my limit. So I went over 3 times.
How did you find out? They told you.
They told me and this was after, and apparently that's a really big no-no, to the point where, I mean, I would say I was a pretty good employee, and I ended up being a sales lead and was a key holder to the store and everything. And to the point where, that's the only time that I ever got in trouble and almost got fired.
$3,000.
Just because I overspent my discount, and I forgot what I was doing.
Just over time, it added up to that.
Dude, this is back.
It wasn't like
This definitely was 2011 because I remember buying on 50% off Varsity Red 6s that were already on sale.
Every place signed for $7.
So I got them for like $50-$60. I got white cement 3s that were sitting at random Foot Lockers. I would go, me and Mark, because Mark was working with me at the time. Me and Mark would go drive around Miami.
I was gonna ask, was it him and Eddie? You guys all worked at?
Eddie worked at Foot Action as well. So I say Foot Locker, but technically the first job ever was Foot Action. Same company.
Same umbrella company.
Same umbrella. International Mall, and then after that I went to
Shitty Mall.
Such
both
a shitty mall. You ever been to International Mall?
I doubt it. He's from Broward.
That's the one that VM had his store in?
No,
right across Dawson Mall.
That's the airport mall.
That's
actually better than
that was the Miami Mall.
Better than International Mall. International Mall was so bad, bro. Fuck.
But yeah, so I was buying infrared 90s, pretty much all those good colorways of shoes that I knew would flip. And I guess I went a little OD. And I remember me and Mark would go around, driving around Miami, going to every single Foot Locker. And specifically the ones that always had good pairs or good retro sitting was the one next to the USA Flea, right, in Hialeah, where that Flea is no longer there.
That's 79th. Yeah, 79th.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, 79th.
There's a Foot Locker in that plaza. And me and Mark would buy.
That's
3 or 4.
That has a name.
It has like 2 locations.
Where Frankie Dimes used to be.
Northside Center.
Northside. Yeah. There is still a Foot. Is there? There's a
think
Foot Locker
there's 2.
still there, and there's a Champs.
So these little obscure Foot Lockers and shopping plazas like around Miami.
I would love that Foot Locker. We'd go.
Yeah, we used to go.
And people would be like, "You got size 10?" Nah, we don't.
All right, see ya.
Damn, all right. And they'd leave. And we were like, what?
We'll take whatever.
We'll take whatever.
We used to leave with
different.
10,
and they wouldn't care.
Different era back then. But yeah, man, just racking up. That's the only time I got in trouble. I forgot what I was going to say as well.
Well, this is because we were talking about how you met Mark, if there was
Correct.
anyone else from
thank
that
you.
era.
Yeah. So, yes, as far as like becoming a business for me personally and started selling shoes, yeah, that was definitely an outlet. And then I want to say when I met you was probably the era. I met you when I Mark went to go do a meetup. I don't know if he was buying off of you, and I was in the car.
He sold me a pair of 2011.
You came out of Sports Authority or Dick's. I don't know which one it was. You were working.
It was the Pines one. I bought a pair of foams off him.
And I was in the whip.
His discount.
I was in the car with him and whatever.
He was in the red Acura.
Yes.
I feel bad for that store because after one sneakerhead guy that was doing meetups on the clock left, another dude just came in.
And Emilio worked with me at the same time.
So that was the first time. I don't even know how we continued our relationship, but for sure, one thing that sticks out for me was the era of roast runs when roast runs dropped.
Yes, I said that on the other one.
On the first episode, how you
pulled up on me at a what's the fucking
jumping
place? What's it called?
Sky Zone.
The original Sky Zone in Doral. I was there with my girl and family and all that. And I told you, pull up on me. I'll buy some roast runs. I paid top though. I paid like once.
You mean
bro? I paid bro. Retail was $70. I paid like $120 each.
You paid $100. You paid like $100.
Well, that's when you were selling on your website, the Skrill City.
Yeah, around the same time. But I was like, I need these roast runs. Nobody got them. I need them.
You had the olive ones, the red ones.
So when they first came out, it was like 4 major colorways. It was the black with the white, the red with the white bottoms, the olive ones, and then the
Yeezy.
Yeah, the gray with the black swoosh and the Tiffany bottom.
And there was those were the main pairs that only came out at Foot Action.
Dude, I would do my rounds, going to every single Foot Action and Foot Locker, buying any size they would have on my discount 30%. So retail $70. I was getting these.
Part of the 3K.
What?
This is part of the 3K.
No. This is the regular employee discount. This is not even 50%. I was buying them all. I had that mentality at that young age where I was like, I knew I could flip them because I was selling my barber shop.
Yeah, you had idiots like me paying 100 or 120.
But that's what that was the going rate. That's what it was. That's what the going rate.
And I remember when the roast runs first came out, they were not easy to get because they would drop, and since they were so cheap, they'd sell it instantly. Down here, it took a while for them to stay in stock. Because when I bought it from you, I could not find them anywhere else.
But you can go back year after year after year, and there's a trendy model.
Oh, for sure.
From Nike.
Always.
For sure.
Especially
when
Air
it had
Max
no business flipping.
Always.
For sure. I would definitely say the Roche era was wild.
I still remember those like orange cheetah ones.
Oh, I remember.
That came out like internationally.
Those were hard to get. No.
People were paying $300-$400 for those.
Insane. Fucking Roche runs.
And they probably still have them in their closet because we're
and
sick.
Then they even had I think I still have a pair of Nike ID Roche Run options.
Oh my
where a lot of people were. And then that's also the era that every single
did,
Nike
the Red
ID
October
option.
one.
Yes,
with the
every
red.
Yeezy, the Blinks, Zens. Think about any colorway with Yeezy. Every single shoe became on Nike ID. You
could still find them on eBay. I look up Nike IDs from like that era, 2013ish. And there's always the platinum Yeezy colorway of KD4s or random LeBrons. Random shit, you always see that.
But yeah, those are good errors. And then I remember meeting up with you, and then still keeping in touch through shoes. And
so that's what we were gonna get into next. Like, let the listeners know or fill them in since they don't know. We obviously know. Tyler probably knows or doesn't. Like, how'd you meet us? How'd you get introduced to Daily?
So this is, I would say I started. I don't even know. This is probably 20. I don't know if before 2013 or in 2013.
Because I remember where I met you. Like, very first time I met you was what had to be that sneaker event.
Yeah, it was the club that's in front of the Burger King in South Beach, right in front of that.
That's the same day. That's the same day I met VM.
Yeah,
Shadow Ones, I think.
No, he was wearing those.
The Atmos. He was wearing the snakeskin. The snakeskin.
The tiger camos.
Tiger camo.
Those shit. Are those women's?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, those. But yeah, that was the first time I met you, but I didn't know, I didn't know much about you.
It was at Club Play.
I know that you guys
it was at Club
Play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because of sneakers and shit.
Which is random. So obviously at that time, I know you guys were taking the business aspect of flipping more serious than I was. At this point, I already graduated high school. I'm at FIU, studying my I'm doing my bachelor's in biology. And I remember I was still into shoes personally on a personal level, and still business wise too. We're selling my personal stuff, and we went to a few events, actually, multiple events. We're like, yo, Flaco, what's up? You want to split the table? Yeah.
Like you and would hit up your same homeboy, split up the table.
Yeah, we would split a table, and then I'll be doing rounds, you'll be doing rounds. I'll be taking care of your shit, you'll be taking care of my shit, and vice versa, and just helping each other out. and pretty much remained with that connection for years, even throughout the early years of daily, to the point where so once I finally graduated and I got my bachelor's, I said, fuck that. Do not want to go continue doing the med school route or the pre-med route. And straight off of school, I ended up working at Nordstrom. Still within shoes. It was women designer shoes, but I was still keeping in contact with you guys. Actually, prior to that, while I was going to school, I was working at the hospital next to the shop, Palmetto General.
Mm-hmm.
And every so often, I would just come into the shop, chop it up.
You won a pair of fucking shoes.
I won a pair of the
machine that we had in the store at one point.
That was
Fire at fours.
That was the day that you brought a bunch of Nick stuff, right? You brought a bunch of SBs.
For those who don't know who Nick is, Nick was my barber for years.
They know who Nick is.
And,
Nick.
Slick Nick.
They know who Nick is.
Man.
Shout out
Will
Nick.
be a future guest on the pod.
Ooh, that's gonna be lit.
The man that cuts up the king right now. Some might say the best player to ever hold a basketball or touch a basketball, but that's for another conversation.
Zach Randolph.
But yes, Zach Randolph. But yes, Nick. I was helping Nick move shoes, and Nick was another person that played a part for me in my shoe journey, because Nick used to have crazy shit.
That day you brought all those SBs, I was like, bro,
crazy shit. And he still does. And back then he used to have crazy shit. And this is, that for you to have that shit back then is like, wow.
No, for sure.
Now it's become like a glorified like
Flex.
money thing. And back then it was a little different. But even that era, even throughout those early years and after, to when the Pit Crew 3s came out, he had I remember I went to go table with you guys one time. I think it was I believe it was Mark. And Nick lent me his Watch the Throne.
The nines, the brown nines.
But with the real Watch the Throne, I know they just came out. They're retro now. They don't go for anything. Yeah. But this is a multi-$1,000 shoe back in the day.
The one that had the big ass thing.
Yes. Nick was able to get a pair, and obviously, you know why, and his connections.
Of course.
He's connected for them and all his Nike people. I remember Nick actually got a pair of Galaxy phones for free. From just got seated. Just
that's beautiful.
Once you're in that inner circle with the king, you're good.
You're good. Yeah. You're good for life.
So throughout all that time, you kept in contact with us. You're popping out at the store.
Correct, popping out of the store, still probably doing events here and there.
And you were working at Nordstrom.
And then Nordstrom, and I remember, I think, was it both of you or just you? Probably you came to visit Nordstrom.
Yeah, I went. I was at Daylight. I was doing a meetup, which is funny. For like a rant, I don't even know what I was buying at that time. I'm still doing meetups, but
could have been anything.
It could have been anything, literally anything.
This
Jersey,
guy has his own sneaker store and is still in the trenches on OfferUp, looking for fucking deals and shoes.
Don't get any ideas.
Don't look for OfferUp size 11 sneakers in Miami, Florida.
But yeah, I was there randomly, and then we chopped it up. The seed was planted that day.
Yeah, pretty much said like, at Nordstrom I was making pretty good money for what it was, but pretty much, what's up? My goal has always been to do this, take this more serious, and I would always wanted to be a part, and we've had that history and that relationship with one another since early on. So pretty much took the leap of faith and left Nordstrom to go work at Hialeah, and at that point I was just an hourly employee, just doing my grunt work in a sense.
Yeah, like learning the store, how we operated,
atmosphere and whatnot. This was back then.
This was like 2017.
Oh man, it's crazy to think how far we've gone in terms of the systems that we've incorporated. Because back then it was just
barbaric.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Handwritten,
writing prices on a sticker.
I paid you for that. Remember?
Yeah, the consignment system was literally a printed out Excel sheet.
Which, as crazy as this sounds, there are so many stores that still do it that way. I think that's insane.
You can do it that way when you're not paying the people what you owe them.
Well, let's not get into that. That's a whole other thing. I'm just saying, there's a lot of stores that do decent business, and they're still doing it the old school way. But be careful.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of stories I've heard of consignment shops not paying people out. It's like, you just made money off of free inventory that you put zero money into, and you sold the item, so you obviously got paid for it, and you can't pay the person out.
It makes
beyond me.
No sense.
Anyways, But yeah, this is when did I start working at the shop? This is 20. So technically, Daily was born or was created in 2013, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Store
we didn't
opened in
have
14.
physical.
Yeah, it
was
took
just
about a
website.
year. It took about almost a year.
And
But it took over a year.
I started working at Daily 2016.
Yeah, because you camped out for the Supreme shit, and that was in 16. So for sure, you're already working.
I
at the
thought that
shop.
was
No,
17.
then 20.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
it's
the
16.
Supreme LV?
Supreme LV was 16 for sure, because that's when Kami was born. Kami was already born.
Yeah. Anyway, they
It
were
was
on that
summer
era.
of 16. You're already working. I think you started working there like the beginning of 16.
Probably because I got my degree. I got my degree 2015. I graduated, and that after I graduated, that's when I left the hospital since I was like, fuck this med school shit. Started working at Nordstrom, and then from Nordstrom I transitioned into Daily. So yeah, maybe 2016, 2017, who knows? Was there for like 2 years, thugging it out, and then luckily God has blessed us with this beautiful store that we have now and everything that we've done so far. It's been a wild journey. And for anyone that's listening that used to shop with us at Hialeah,
God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you for having so much patience with us.
The patience thing is insane because
thank you for dealing with our parking.
We gotta
thank you,
break
thank you
down
for dealing with our
really
lunch
went on
breaks.
over there. The
Everything.
Jimmy's
just
and all.
we used to do
Just
some
the,
shit.
oh my God,
famous
the
people in
Jimmy's.
Jimmy's.
For those,
Let's talk about the parking. The parking was always bad because we're splitting a building. We had 30% of a building, and there was only maybe 6 spots for them and for us. And then there was an apartment building next to us where the owner of the building was always complaining about people parking there. It was
But then
the
it was
worst.
also like PT's.
Oh
tow
yeah,
yard
and there
at
was
one
just
point. He
there was just random
leaving
cars there, and then people would park at Checkers.
there was a dentist's office across the street.
We used to park there.
Thank God for that dentist's office for letting us park there. Not directly. We would just forcefully park there, and
Yeah,
luckily
they had
not get our cars towed.
No choice.
Checkers sometimes would let it fly, but plenty of
Some people got
customers'
towed.
cars have getting towed at Checkers. So, yeah, it's crazy. And then there's probably four available spots, and mind you, there would be like four workers with cars. So like we would just take the spots, and it was just
there
like
would 100% be people that would say, "Oh, I'm going to Daily today." They'd see that there's no parking and just give up after.
or the people
however long
with balls that
and
would just
leave.
park on the fucking sidewalk
That too.
That's
on
where
a
I park
busy
every day.
intersection.
Yeah,
Lejeune and
park.
49th is
And-
a very busy street.
and
Very busy street.
just wing it, and it's just like, fuck it, if someone crashes into my car, whatever.
There
it is
were
what
a
it
bunch
is.
of car crashes there.
Not bad ones, but yeah, fender
Yeah,
benders for sure.
Some funny ones.
But yeah, shout out to those people that had that.
And then our
patience.
lunch breaks were pretty bad because we didn't have set lunch. We would be like, "Oh, you guys hungry? Everyone hungry? All right, let's go." We leave.
All of us would go to lunch together at the same time, close down the store at a random hour of the day. Sometimes we would take more than an hour, and we just put a sign like, "Oh, we'll be back."
back. Check the Instagram. We'll let you know when we're coming back.
From a worker's perspective, shop morale was at all-time high on those.
People loved it. I'm
Team-
not gonna
team-
lie. I look
team
forward
bonding.
to it. 100%.
Team
Always look
bonding.
forward to. Oh, what are we gonna eat
what,
today?
what are we eating today?
Oh,
guys?
we're going to fucking.
Like Fast and the
What's
Furious.
the name of the
Every
steakhouse?
meal you had with
The fucking steakhouse that we'd go to.
Casablanca?
Longhorn.
Oh, Longhorn,
Yeah, we're going to
Longhorn.
Longhorn today, or we're
Ooh,
going
it's
to
taking an hour and a half.
Burger Find
Burger.
Doral.
Yeah, we're going to Burger Find fucking Doral.
That's when it got fucky. When we
Salsa
started going to
Fiesta.
famous
Those are
We
good.
started experimenting. We're
Those
like,
are
oh,
good.
how
Those
far
are
can
good.
we go?
45 minutes to get there and another 45
Those
to get
were good
home.
lunches
man.
for sure. But
And
yeah,
shout out the customers that would go eat with us too. There's a few. Shout out Gio.
We would
For
get
sure.
back and there'd be like a line.
Yeah, and then it was always bad.
yeah. Thankfully, we've grown up a little bit and became a little more professional.
If we
when
could,
it came
if
over
we
to-
could still do that now, I'd
I
probably
would.
still
My
do
personal favorite, like, would be when we're getting in the car
that.
And people are pulling
someone's
up.
pulling in, and
Oh,
we're
And
like,
we're like, go, 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 go.
get out of here, get out of
Go,
here.
get out of here, go, go, go. They didn't see us. They didn't see us. Sometimes they'd see us
We're
and be like, yo,
ducking
come
and
on.
dodging customers. Like, yo,
man.
we gotta
It'd be
go eat,
bad.
man.
Yeah,
Get me out of here.
We've had some bad ones, but yeah.
And it's like all 5 of us, 6 of us in the car.
We'd pack one car, yeah.
yeah, we would carpool like
Good
crazy.
times.
It was different back then. Now, we have parking,
Oh, yeah.
but if you leave, a Travis Scott Jordan 1 brown and red box in your front seat, your window.
For,
could
I mean,
smash.
yeah. As, you know.
Pros and
Maybe
cons.
that would
do
happen
that.
anywhere, in all
Yeah,
honesty.
yeah, pros and
yeah.
pros and
But
cons.
we have parking now.
Yeah.
We're here. We're open 11 to 7 every day, and doesn't matter when you show up. We're always gonna.
Well,
be
yeah,
there.
for the most part.
Back then it was different,
You were taking a gamble anytime you drove down to Hialeah. I'll tell you that.
and you still wanted to be a part of Daily.
Yeah,
Like seeing all
had
that,
its
even if
charm.
you didn't agree with certain things.
It
that
had
me
its
and
charm.
John
it was
didn't
more.
agree.
I feel like I still have a vision, and I've always had that vision even from day one. And just is one of those things, like I always knew that about myself in terms of what I kind of wanted to do with my life in terms of going that path, even with my educational background.
I mean, it's a big change to go from I'm going to school for biology, getting a degree, because that's extremely hard in that major is very tough. I've seen my wife go through it. It's very tough. And then dealing with all that and wondering if you're going to continue.
Yeah, one of the biggest pressures.
Never mind. I'll just do retail.
Pressures for sure, other than like, you know, life itself, is my mom, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But the second I got my degree, it's like, look, Mom, I did it.
Here's your piece of
talk
cardboard.
shit.
I remember when you brought her to the store.
You can't talk shit.
First time.
Now I'm gonna go do this. I know. I got this piece of paper that I just spent probably $20,000 on that I'm never gonna use in my life. That it's gonna look really nice on my wall one day. Whatever. Which I don't even know where my degree is right now.
I was gonna ask if you have it hung up.
It has to be in a drawer somewhere in my house.
Pay for a new one.
Which I should probably frame it officially.
Man.
But
I don't know where mine is either.
But yeah, I'm like, all right, got it. I know you're happy with this. Now I'm gonna do my thing. And luckily, it's played out so far to my benefit and to our benefit.
So going through that, how do you see how the game is now from those times to now, like the industry where it's at?
It's weird, man. And I'm sure we're guilty of it too. Or we, or at least myself, I have these waves of where like I'm done. I want to sell everything, and then I still catch myself wanting stuff and buying stuff. So the consumer aspect has changed.
For yourself, though.
For myself. And then as far as business wise, I could go into length for myself, because if anything, it was like not only like a collecting grail kind of aspect, but also like fashion forward statements. And I always enjoyed, putting fits together with shoes, not just collecting them. But as far as business standpoint, sometimes I get into my own head and is the consumers or materialistic part of it is a little distasteful, but I still find enjoyment, like even coming here and sometimes helping customers and stuff, and like connecting people with product. I feel like I still get enjoyment from, and I see it, and it kind of re-sparks it in me. And then there's also that business aspect of like, are people ever gonna stop liking shoes? And sometimes I think about it and I kind of think it's dumb, because no matter what, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I think it's always gonna be a cycle. People are always gonna like shoes, and even if I personally stop liking shoes to an extent, because I feel like I'm never gonna dislike shoes, right? It's always gonna be a part of my life. But even if I hold myself back, there's always gonna be that person that in their younger years, they didn't have money to buy that shoe that they always wanted. And then now when they are more on their feet and financially stable, or whatever the case is, they're going to go buy the shoes they've always wanted as a kid. And just overall, now the way social media is and marketing and everything else with all these brands.
Yeah, it's like everything's in your face.
Correct. And then, right. So that's another, we'll go to touch that after, like pro and con in terms of individuality, in terms of people like everybody wants the same shoe over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Well, that falls into like how the industry is now. It's pretty much a lot of
pumping out one shoe and then like it's all over social media, and then everybody wants it.
Force fed to an extent.
But it does breed more people that benefits the business
for sure,
right? As far as
there's more eyes, yeah, for sure. There's more people wanting shoes, regardless of its price points. Yeah,
right. One thing I didn't. Looking the past 3 years, or even now, I don't think prices are sustainable. Sometimes, like every other shoe was $1,000 shoe, and that's just not realistic for the
it's
average
definitely
person.
Corrected itself for sure.
It's definitely correcting itself, and it is going to continue correcting itself. And then I was worried for a second about that, in terms of adjusting our prices. But at the end of the day, I feel like as long as we maintain good offers and good price points and continue our business model of like just high volume, lower profit margins than some of these other stores that are out there that are charging triple of what they go for online. Yeah. I think we're always going to be one of those stores that are always going to be very, very in touch with the community base and with the consumer base.
And the longevity helps, because we've been here the longest, still standing. So that's a big part of it.
And we pay our consigners
And yes, we pay all of our consigners.
on time every week.
It might, it might take us a couple of days after you hit us up.
But it'll get done.
But,
You don't have to.
you know,
You're not gonna have to
in
pull
terms
up
of
on us.
like
We got receipts.
owing people. Nah,
No, I
that's,
don't have it.
that's wild.
All right, I'm gonna ask you some real just rapid fire questions to wrap up. Favorite shoe of all time?
Favorite shoe of all time? Probably my uncle's.
Uncle SB.
Uncle SB's.
You got those cheap too.
Got those for
Yes.
$260.
Right
Oh my
before
Right
the
before the
Right before
blow
the
up.
boom.
Right before the Travis Scott era of
I
SB's.
remember.
Insane.
$260. I was working at the shop in Hialeah. Got them on eBay. They were up for $500. Just low ball offer. Like, hey, fuck it. I got nothing to lose. Homie accepted it.
took it.
$260.
Crazy as
Okay.
fuck.
Yeah. Uncle's. I would
Favorite
say.
brand at the moment?
Favorite brand at the moment.
Something you're fucking with heavy.
Dude, I'd be biased, and if I don't say Supreme, like I wear more Supreme than anything else. So obviously that means something. And to me, Supreme is not dead. I might not wear as many graphic tees as I used to, but as far as like
Yeah,
the
I
feel like,
garment
yeah, the
pieces,
Supreme
their
shit I
jackets
like
or
is
better
more
ups,
the plain shit.
to me, I think Supreme will be timeless and
sure.
is timeless.
Yeah,
and
they're
I still look forward to their lookbooks every season to see
Always.
what dope pieces they have.
And I'm sure a lot of other brands also follow in their.
So not just to
follow
fall
what
into
they're
the
doing.
hype of Supreme. Yeah, Supreme.
Yeah, Supreme. All right. Favorite stores, resale wise, or just overall stores that you fuck with, that you're a fan of? You wanna give props to.
Favorite stores? I don't know, man. It's weird. Being around so much shoes and clothing every single day, and not to sound cliche, but my favorite store is probably Daily because that's where literally
There you
my
go.
entire closet comes from.
From there, you go.
Shoes, clothing. I buy a lot of stuff here, and then eBay. I don't know if eBay's considered a store, but
I would consider,
Yeah.
e-commerce. I mean,
I
anything
still
e-commerce,
eBay.
for sure.
Definitely a lot of e-commerce. But as far as physical stores here in Miami,
or just anywhere.
Shoe
Anywhere.
gallery.
Anywhere. It could be anywhere.
Shoe gallery.
That and that too. Retailers. It could be
Anything.
Definitely shoe galleries up there.
Any buy sell trades that you fuck with?
Buy sell trades.
Doesn't have to be from Florida.
The ones that I've gone to. When round two New York first opened up, they had a really good
R.I.P.
RIP. They had a really good store over there when they first opened.
We actually
up.
we flew. The
First
three of
day.
us and a few others flew for the opening of New
round
York.
trip, same day.
Same day,
and
psychotic.
bought shit
We
to
bought
sell
shit,
and-
made bread, had fun, ate pizza. Good times.
One of
We
my
definitely
earliest,
did that.
earliest best flips was the Guess ASAP tees. I'm only bringing
Oh
that up
my
because I
God,
remember taking
yes.
those to round two in LA,
Oh
in
my
New York,
God.
and just selling them by boatloads
I'm sure there's some motherfuckers out there that still hate us for
for
what
buying
we did,
out
for what
all the
we did that
ASAP
day,
Guess stripe tees.
because they were pissed for a while.
But yeah, as far as the West Coast side, definitely I would say props to Riff. I would say they're major OGs.
The best.
I have yet to go to Syndicate.
You didn't go? I thought
Chris
you
and
went
them.
when you went to, no?
No, I have yet to go there, but I
Oh.
bought and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I've just
Yeah,
DM'd him
same.
and I've DM'd Chris and he's helped out. But yeah, so far in the West Coast, that the stores that I've gone to, Riff and now Syndicate, I would say. I haven't gone to a lot of them. Honorable mention On the Arm and
Oh,
all that
yeah.
other stuff.
Only
all
went
these
there
other
once. Or did we go there twice? No, I think we only went there once, but it was a good experience. Definitely fire.
They were definitely, from my point of view, someone living in Miami and completely opposite coast, they were definitely one of the more respectable names that I could think
And the
of. in the West
presentation,
Coast.
the presentation of that store, the original presentation that they had with the jewelry cases full of teas and
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
amazing, and the Zen guy. Shout out the Zen
Yeah,
guy.
that Zen guy.
Zen
That Zen
John,
guy's
I think is his
classic.
John.
Yeah, that
Classic.
whole aspect of their store was pretty fire. So yeah, shout out
And
to
they
them.
also had the crazy Supreme.
Yeah,
during that,
they
like,
had
Their-
it. They had the
braids
best.
and everything. Even
For sure.
afterwards, they still had it.
But yeah, that in that era too, round two LA was definitely
For
goated,
sure.
100%.
Anything else that you're into now? Any hobbies or anything?
Hobbies, other than playing sports, here and there, soccer. I play a lot of soccer. I've been getting into soccer recently a lot. And it's crazy because I never really followed the sport, but I love playing it. And now because I love playing it, I'm actually starting to follow the sport. Go Gunners. Arsenal's my team.
Arsenal?
They're doing great this year. Man City might.
I
might
personally
creep up.
prefer Chelsea, but
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
They're not doing so great, but
Sorry, Tezzy.
they're up there. At least in the Champions League. Arsenal's not even the champions this year, but they will be the next year. And believe it or not, random pickleball. Pickleball's fire.
Shout out pickleball.
I still haven't played.
Shout out pickleball. Pickleball's fire.
I bought my racket when Renzo told me to buy it, and I have yet to use it.
But yeah, things that I'm into, just that chilling.
All right. Anything else you want to say for the pod, to the fans out there?
None.
Anything you want to
Nothing.
plug? You
Just
want to plug anything?
daily MIA
Daily
and
MIA.
yesterday
And yesterday.
MIA.
Well, yeah, we'll probably have another episode. We'll talk about yesterday. We'll have Mike on here too. We'll talk about that because we completely left that out. We didn't even talk about that last time.
I mean, yeah,
So there's a lot to talk about with that
Part
too.
of our journey, and not only
Mike
meeting
is
you guys
definitely
is
big
not
part
only
of it.
having daily is transitioning to yesterday in the
Well,
vintage.
yeah, I mean, we still haven't covered past 2017.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yesterday came
and we
about.
barely touched we
2019.
barely
We'll do
touched
another
about us coming here to this La Pata Wynwood
Yeah,
location.
like we still haven't touched that. Yeah. Moving and
In depth,
everything.
but I feel
Losing
like,
the original Instagram.
For sure. Oh yeah.
Oh
Bunch of
gosh,
shit.
That's,
a
a story for another
A
time.
little bit of drama there.
But yeah, that's it. Flacco, appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys
Tessie,
for having
appreciate you.
me. Yes, sir.
Pro, appreciate you.
I'm out, man. I'm gonna
Kelvin,
go hoop.
appreciate you. Cool Beans in the cut.
Yes,
Go play
sir.
ball with my boys. You know.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
I
guys.
don't know something, little thing or two about that.